session is going to be recorded. So if you feel comfortable having your image recorded, leave your camera on. If not, go ahead and turn it off and sit back and enjoy today's presentation. My name is Angel Dominguez. I am the new Graduate Services Counselor here with GANAS Graduate Pathways. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. Everything works. It's all in the mix. I'm very excited to be presenting during HSI week, during HSI, I'm just gonna call it month because it is Hispanic Heritage Month or Latinx Heritage Month. And, you know, I'm not gonna get into Latinidad right now because that is an onion that I can't peel in an hour. So today what we will be talking about, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen. Today what we will be talking about is the GANAS Graduate Holistic Counseling and VOCES Graduate Writing Center. And this is an information session with me, Angel Dominguez. Can everyone see the screen that I am sharing? Thumbs up, great, okay, wonderful. So I am incredibly excited to be here today and to speak with all of you. And I'm here to talk to you about GANAS. So what is GANAS? GANAS is Graduating and Advancing New American Scholars. It is a part of the HSI initiative, and my position is made possible by the GANAS grant. And so I wanted to read just a little bit of the grant abstract, and I don't want to go into too much detail as there was an incredible presentation that was shared on Wednesday by Sarah Sanchez and Charis Herzon. And so what I will read from the abstract is, the GANAS project has been designed to unleash the potential of UCSC as a public Hispanic serving research institution, one of the few HSIs that has an R1 doctorate granting university, indicating very high levels of research activity in the Carnegie classification of institutions of higher education, by increasing the readiness of Latina, Latino, low income and students of color from UCSC and CSUMB to apply and succeed in graduate programs. So the GANAS project includes interventions that are strategically positioned to overcome institutional barriers that may impede Latina, Latino, Latinx, low income and grad students of color in areas of preparation, retention, advancement to candidacy, and degree completion. And so the grant has identified a number of gaps. So among the gaps include the relative lack of representation of Latinx graduate students here at UCSC and in higher education nationally. And that is reflected in the equity gap among faculty across the University of California. There's also a gap in rates of advancing to candidacy and degree attainment between white and Hispanic/Latina, Latino, Latinx doctoral students. UCSC graduate students, including Latinx low income and students of color, experience writing challenges. And the fourth gap is non-academic barriers, including financial planning, literacy, basic needs, and a lack of personal support, which can really impede students' progress and completion, especially for students who are Latinx, low income, and students of color. And so these gaps, we hope to achieve the following goals in addressing these gaps. One is to increase the number of Latinx graduate students enrolled at UCSC by 35%, number I hope we can absolutely crush. Increase Latinx graduate students' writing proficiency by 3% minimum. We're gonna do 10, we'll see. Increase Latinx graduate students' sense of belonging by 12. I'm gonna say we're gonna increase it by 80 because I am optimistic. And we are also gonna be increasing graduate degree completion for Latinx low income and graduate students of color by at least 3%. So again, many of these things were covered in a previous session that was recorded on Wednesday by the great Sarah Sanchez and Charis Herzon. And so I won't be getting into very much detail, but the way that we are addressing these gaps and these goals is through 8 project activities that have 2 areas of focus, specifically student pipeline interventions and degree completion programs. Here are all 8. And for the purposes of this presentation, I will be focusing on activity 4 and activity 6. So activity 4, financial planning, literacy, holistic, and basic needs counselor. That's me. Hi. So the GSE, me, will serve as the one-stop shop center for Latinx graduate students of color to address non-academic challenges that may impede transition and degree completion. My services will emphasize financial planning, budgeting, cost control strategies, borrowing, and financial literacy, among a myriad of other things that I'll be getting into shortly. Another activity that we'll be addressing today is activity 6, which is the VOCES Graduate Writing Center. And I'll get into that once we reach that part of the presentation. So I apologize, I do have a number of slides, so I'm just hoping we get through it in time. All right, so a little bit about myself. Hi. Again, my name is Angel Dominguez. You can call me Angel. A little bit about me. I am a queer first-generation Latinx alumni of UCSC, and I actually come from a low-income background. I hold an MFA in writing and poetics, and I've worked at UCSC for the last 6 years and counting, and I am especially honored to be joining the GANAS Graduate Pathways team in this capacity, and I'm looking forward to supporting our Latinx, POC, first-gen, and low-income graduate students through one-on-one holistic counseling sessions. So I also just wanted to note and give a quick shout out that I am working under the collaborative direction of Sarah Sanchez, who is the GANAS Graduate Program Director, and Wasilla George, the Assistant Director of Professional Development and Graduate Preparation for the Educational Opportunity Programs, or EOP offices. And I was going to include a little slide that showed Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, but I decided against that. But suffice to say, I do believe that we are the dream team, as it were, and clearly I am the Dennis Rodman of the three. Just look at my purple slides. Okay, so what are GANAS graduate appointments? That's a great question. So these appointments are one-on-one appointments designed to provide Latinx, AKA Latin. I know that that is currently in circulation in the vernacular, Latino, Latina, etc., POC, first generation and low income graduate students with a safe space for holistic counseling. I do want to note that while we do seek to provide support to Latinx, POC, first gen, and low income students, all UCSC graduate students are welcome to schedule a one-on-one GANAS Graduate Pathways appointment with me, because I am here to help. That is truly something that I'm here to do, not just as a job, but like I truly love helping in every way possible. So if you know of a student who does not fall within any of these categories who may benefit from meeting with me, go ahead and send them my way. Okay, so what is covered in a GANAS appointment? Well, GANAS graduate appointments may cover any of the following topics, including financial health, literacy, planning, and wellness. What does that really mean? So we're talking about healthy spending habits. We're talking about approaches to budgeting. We're talking about planning for a future, whether that future is a month, a year, or 5 years into the future. These are some things that we can talk about. So also, students can come talk to me about campus community and cultural wellness. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, being a person of color in the Redwoods may at times feel, how to put it, different. And if that is something that one is experiencing, I'm here to talk about it because, surprise, I was in these Redwoods quite a long time ago, and here I am again. And you're not the first to be here. So also, you can come and talk with me about familial and personal responsibilities. And what do I actually mean by that? Part of what I mean by that is setting healthy boundaries. And that's something that I find graduate students may actually struggle with, especially when we have such passionate and caring graduate students who throw themselves entirely into their studies or who throw themselves entirely into their community, whether that be a familial community, a campus community, or a local geographical community. We can talk about that. So I am also here to help connect students with campus and community resources. So not just here at UCSC, but also the city and county of Santa Cruz as well. I'm here to provide graduate reading and writing support, and the writing support portion we'll talk more about with VOCES Graduate Student Writing Center, which I'm so excited about. I just have to say, I wish that existed. I wish all these things existed when I was a student, and I'm just so happy that they do exist now. And I don't want to derail too far, but I just think it is so special that we are able to support our graduate students in these ways. And so to just quickly wrap up more of what is covered, we have academic and career trajectories. So what do I mean by academic and career trajectory? Is it appropriate for you to take leave of absence? Go on part-time. Maybe you need to go in absentia. How is that degree plan working out for you? What is that plan of completion? And what are you going to do afterwards? Because surprise, if you do decide to get a doctorate or master's degree in arts or humanities, there's a lot you can do with it that is not just entering into the behemoth mechanism that is academia. And we can talk about what those options look like. Very important for me also is to share strategies of self-care. Self-care is super hard. Like, I don't know when it became an internet meme, but it is not as simple as a meme, and not every self-care approach works for everyone. And so we can talk about diversifying one's own set of tools in taking care of oneself. I'm also here to help with university forms and processes that may seem confusing, or that you may not feel comfortable asking for help from, let's say, your departmental advisor. So at this time, we have it set up so that there is a single holistic appointment type. And we really do hope that this will encourage our graduate students who might have maybe multiple reasons, or maybe even no reason for meeting with me, to just come by and talk with me, because who knows, maybe during the course of the conversation and the appointment time, we may identify a few things that you maybe didn't know about on our campus, or maybe you didn't realize were actually impeding your ability to perform at your highest levels. So the big word, holistic, what do I mean when I say holistic, right? In simplest terms, we mean attending to the whole person and not just the graduate student, right? You're a human being outside of your program. You're a human being in the world who's experiencing being alive. That's very important to us. So we care about your emotional health. We care about your spiritual health, your physical health, social, financial, environmental, intellectual, occupational. So this Dimensions of Wellness Wheel is borrowed from our sister campus of UC Davis. And really, as with the Marvel multiverse, there are infinite iterations of what dimensions of wellness can look like. So personally, I take a somatic, and that means beginning with the body, mindfulness approach to emotional and spiritual wellness, and I'll be applying this approach to my one-on-one appointments. So we really do hope to be providing a safe space for our students to arrive as they are, knowing that there is a compassionate support system in place to receive them. You don't have to be professional and dressed up. You don't have to be the graduate student who is looking to be employed. You can come as your first and last name. You can come as your nickname if you want. It's really up to you. And I do want graduate students to know that, maybe the things in this wheel don't necessarily connect to you. Let's talk about it. What does connect with you, and how might I be able to help? So one large emphasis that I have in my position deals with financial health. So as with all things, building a healthy spending habit takes practice. It takes time. In fact, your brain requires 28 days to form a new synapse. So 28-day minimum, the cycle of a moon, a month, that's how long it actually takes for you to build a habit. So if you don't get it right away, don't worry about it. Don't be so hard on yourself. The world is hard enough. And I'm here to help talk you through it. So I just wanted to do some quick broad strokes, because really I could do a whole hour-long presentation on finances. We could all fill in budgets. We could figure out our lives, but we're not going to do that today. So what I will touch on is planning. Always think longer term. And maybe that's a little bit scary to think longer term, right? Maybe it's just like, oof, I can only do a quarter at a time. That's fine. We can look forward to the end of the quarter. Reducing spending. Now, there's a number of ways to do this, whether it is, going to the farmer's market as opposed to going to Staff of Life, or just, cutting back on the vinyl record spending habit that you may have developed in grad school. Whatever it is, we can talk about ways to reduce spending. Of course, there is budgeting listed 50 million times because budgeting is extremely important, not just as grad students, but as like people existing within a capitalist society. We have to have some safety nets in place. And then also the big S word, saving. I know that sounded scary for me when I was a graduate student. And for me, when I was a grad student, I was like, oh, saving something I'll do later. Saving something I'll do when I get that job, when I get the, no. Savings can happen right now, starting today. You'll have to book an appointment with me to find out more about that though. So budgeting. So what am I even talking about when I'm talking about budgeting, right? Well, I'm talking about setting a budget and sticking to it. And here are a few examples of budgeting approaches that I may bring up to you. So there's zero-based budgeting. Every single dollar, down to the penny, accounted for. What's not technically spent is saved. It's dog-eared for a safety net for yourself. There's the 50-30-20 process. 50% of your income goes to necessities. 30% goes to wants. 20% goes into savings. Savings, very important. There is also envelope budgeting. This is creating a physical banking system within your own home. So you have an envelope set aside for groceries. You have an envelope set aside for entertainment. You have an envelope set aside for just about everything you may do. And then, of course, there is, infinite variations to the 50-30-20. So I put here, 60-40 or 70-30. So this involves, determining what your basic needs are. And I do have here, spoiler alert, I'm very sorry to inform you all, but the limited edition Bad Bunny Crocs are sadly not a part of basic needs. Really sorry to share that information with you all, but you can't do that. Because I feel like something, that one may do when you do have a savings account is suddenly you're just like, who's having a concert? Or like, oh, that cute scarf. Like, I know I don't need it, but I could study better if I just like looked a little bit cuter in that scarf. Not what savings is for. Again, book an appointment with me. We can talk more about it. And so what do I mean when I say self-care? This slide is left intentionally blank because I believe that self-care is really an individualized set of tools. And so I'm here to help cultivate the tools that you might already have and maybe even offer you some other tools. So maybe your self-care is once a week, you go roller skating down Westcliff. Please wear a helmet, always wear a helmet. Bike, roller skates, always wear a helmet. Please don't rent those scooters. They're very scary. So maybe that is your your self-care. Maybe your self-care is binge watching Grey's Anatomy and watching Meredith Grey make mistakes for 13 or however many seasons there are now. Maybe your self-care is reading a book of poems. Maybe you have the collected works of Lucille Clifton, and maybe you have the work of Audre Lorde, and you're reading the cancer journals. So, I want to emphasize that everyone's self-care looks different. And so we can talk about ways that self-care can work for you. And also, I do want to encourage that everyone think about ways that they're currently taking care of themselves. So whether that is a late night Netflix binge, maybe you go running in the morning. Maybe you're my hero because you can go running in the morning. I dream of doing it. I did it when I was in grad school. I'll say that I really did. I ran every morning in grad school. That was a long time ago. But anyway, come talk to me about self-care. How do you take care of yourself? We live in a very beautiful place. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. One quick one that I will offer is going to look at the water, going to look at the ocean. I think that there's something very important about bearing witness to something that is incommunicably large. It's so hard to fathom the Pacific Ocean. And when I go, say, walk down natural bridges or head to Bonnie Doon Beach or something, I always feel like I'm having like my brain scrubbed, like just washing the brain off of all the junk from the day. And that's actually part of my own personal self-care. I try to go for a walk as often as I can by the ocean, whenever I can. Okay, so just want to check the time, and we have more slides, so I'm gonna try to keep it easy now. One of the other things that I'm here to help address is your sense of belonging. Here in the Redwoods, you may not know this, but you graduate students, Latinx and POC graduate students, you're actually joining a lineage of excellence amongst the Redwoods. And among our most prominent graduate student alumni are Bell Hooks, you may have heard of her, Gloria Anzaldúa, you may have heard of her, Huey P. Newton, you may have heard of him, and you. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but I do think it's important for our graduate students to recognize that, yeah, you actually are kind of amazing. Like, you're in a graduate program. Hello, that's a lot of work to accomplish. And also, you are walking amongst the same trees that these individuals walked amongst. So when Gloria Anzaldúa was working on her final project, Luz en el Oscuro, she actually writes about taking a walk down Westcliff. And there's something very important to note about redwoods as well. So redwoods actually retain memory like few other organisms in the world, because they, not to blow your mind, but the redwood forest is a single organism. And they communicate through a rhizomatic root system. And so the memory of the forest is held in those roots. And so those roots remember Belle. Those roots remember Gloria. Those roots remember Huey. And those roots will remember you too. I think it's important to know that. Okay, very important, right? So we're talking about all this good feeling stuff, but how do you even do it? How do you get to me? Well, fun fact, all UCSC students, both current and incoming, have access to the Handshake Platform. The Handshake Platform is utilized by the Career Center, and you'll have to go to this link right here to get started. And once you go to this link, hello, yep, I've got slides for you, because it turns out you can only make an account once, and I already did mine. So this is from a video, and so I'll just quickly show you. You will need to agree to the terms of service and privacy policy. And I will say, UC Santa Cruz is not going to ask you to agree to anything that will harm you, to my knowledge. So I clicked yes, and I agreed to it. You'll also be inputting your expected graduation date. And don't worry, it's not set in stone. That can change. The important part is that we get you situated on the platform. Okay, so once you've accepted the terms of service, you'll be able to update your profile availability, or visibility, sorry. And so you can set it to community and alumni, current students. You'll hear about job opportunities. You'll be able to browse other jobs in Handshake. Job recruiters will be able to see your information. This is a personal choice. It's up to you. We do not require that you have any specific profile visibility. The most important part is that we get you a profile so that you can go ahead and book an appointment with me. So, there we go. Once we've selected which kind of profile we're going to have, whether it's community, employee, or private, at this point, you'll be asked to input demographic and academic information. It's a lot of information, so I did not include screenshots because that would be the entire presentation. Please note that this information is optional and is not required to set up a one-on-one GANAS appointment. So once you've put in your information, your screen should look like this. I hope. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Great. So this is where your profile would be. So I currently have it set to be on the student setting so that you can see what students will see. I will admit it is not immediately obvious how you set up an appointment. As you can see, there's tons of stuff. But we, for our purposes, are going to want to go up here to the top right-hand corner. We're going to click on Career Center. So once we've clicked on Career Center, we get sent to this lovely page, and we want appointments. Oh, would you look at that? I have previously booked an appointment with myself. It went very well. Very proud of me. Okay, so we're going to want to schedule a new appointment. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And wouldn't you know it, here's GANAS Graduate Pathways. There are other options, but for today's presentation, bearing in mind time, we're going to stick with these. And look at that, one appointment type, super easy, super quick. Oh, and here we are, available appointment times. So you'll be able to see available appointment times. I will also be posting drop-in hours. The drop-ins will be hosted on Zoom, and more information will come up on that next week. And so once you've selected an appointment time here on the Handshake medium, boom, what appointment medium would you like to communicate over? I'm happy to call you over the phone if you're burnt out on Zoom. I totally understand. You really do want to take care of those eyes because you need them forever, turns out. You can also go virtual on Handshake. So Handshake actually has a video platform that you can sign into, and we can meet over that as well. Or we can go with the pandemic preferred video Zoom call. You'll also have the opportunity to tell me a little bit about what you'd like to talk about. And honestly, you can even just be like, IDK, I don't know. That's great. You don't have to know. So then we're going to request an appointment, and guess what? You're automatically approved. And I have it set to automatically approve all students. So you don't have to like stress about, do I have a real reason to go talk to Angel? Is there? No. Just do it. Just go ahead and go for it. Okay. So if all else fails, you can send me an email directly. I won't tell anyone. You won't be in trouble. It'll be okay. The most important part is that you do find a way to connect with me. And during our first meeting, if you do email me, instead of setting it up through Handshake, I might just walk you through how to set up Handshake, just for future appointments, because guess what, y'all? I'm gonna make you meet with me more than one time. I mean, so long as you want to, you know, I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't wanna do, obviously. Okay, so another extremely important aspect of what I do in these Handshake appointments is connecting students with resources. And I know this list looks overwhelming, but this is a fraction of the resources that are available on campus. And I think that this is tremendously amazing in so many ways. So we have a number of cultural resource centers: African American, American Indian, Asian American, Pacific Islander. We have El Centro, the Chicanx Latinx Resource Center, the Lionel Cantu Queer Center. You know, we also have counseling and psychological services. There was just announced today backup care, which is child and elderly care that is available to students and staff. Hey, staff, fun fact, we have access to these things as well. And you'll also notice I have listed Pogo Nip and Wilder Ranch as resources, because you know what? Part of taking care of yourself, part of your mental health is being outside when you can do it. And we happen to be on a campus that is right up against 2 different state parks. In fact, if you come talk to me just about hikes, I'll tell you how to get to the ocean from campus. It is a 16-mile hike. Brace yourself. But it's doable and it's absolutely beautiful. And there's tons of other things too. I might give you a scavenger hunt because I am a UCSC alumni and I know where everything is. The Buddha tree, the merry-go-round, tree 9, the tree houses, the caves, the secret caves. In fact, I actually found out that Santa Cruz is home to the most secret cave, which is called the White Moon Cave. And its location is completely guarded. And I've spent like forever trying to find, doesn't matter. Anyway, we're not here to talk about caves. I'd like to now switch gears and tell you all about the VOCES Graduate Student Writing Center, which is really so exciting. And so this activity is led by Andrea Seeger and Marcia Ochoa. And this center will provide Latina, Latino, Latinx, Latin, low income, first generation, and graduate students of color an array of writing strategies designed to address conceptual thinking, reading and literacy, and multiple forms of writing at various stages in graduate student development. So we're going to get a little more into that. So here we have this beautiful logo. I absolutely love this logo from VOCES. So VOCES is, again, an initiative of the Writing Center supported by GANAS. And it is here to support Latinx graduate students' writing proficiency, sense of belonging, and degree completion. And while VOCES, much like my position, supports Latinx students of color and low-income students, all graduate students are welcome and encouraged to set up either one-on-one appointments with me, or alternatively, to set up a VOCES Writing Center appointment as well. So VOCES is staffed by the Writing Center's skilled writing mentors, of all of whom either hold or are pursuing graduate degrees and have professional writing, teaching, tutoring, and mentoring backgrounds. The VOCES Graduate Student Writing Center offers exceptional one-on-one writing support and also group writing support, which is really great. If you feel like, you know, maybe too stressed by the thought of like one-on-one writing support, being in a group may help. So all of VOCES, they are writers themselves, and they are here to be a member of your writing community. So bring them your budding ideas, your developing thoughts, your unpunctuated drafts, or the final polishing needs. VOCES is here to work with you. Again, I really wish, like, honestly, I wish I had that for my graduate school thesis, which was fine. It was great. So VOCES writing group support. VOCES supports graduate writing groups and works in collaboration with professional writing coaching and mentorship. Writing coaches work with writers to co-create custom designed writing curricula and practices that actively support sustainable, generative, and joyful writing practices and contexts. That's right, everybody. Writing should be joyful. I really think it should. VOCES and writing coaches work in collaboration with the Colibri Writing Circles, a weekly women of color writing group sponsored by El Centro, Chicanx Latinx Resource Center, and Colibri supports first-generation graduate students through a holistic approach. VOCES provides writing mentors for the Colibri group, writing activities, and retreats. And so VOCES are building connections with writing groups across campus, informed by the Right to Thrive model. If you have a writing group that you would like VOCES to support, email the Writing Center at writeon.ucsc.edu. And so here are some examples of how VOCES supports graduate student writers. And I'm especially excited to share these because look at everything that you can get help with. Like, what? Okay, so we have writing process, pre-writing, writing, revising, exploring your own process and understanding your strengths and needs, academic and creative writing, right? So low stake versus high stakes assignments, final papers versus mid-quarter seminars, graduate seminar papers, proposals, disc chapters, articles, narrative and fictional writing. And here's a really great one: professional development, resumes and CVs, personal statements, artist statements, grant and fellowship applications, NSF writing, and more. And so how do you make an appointment? Well, we're going to find out together. So here we are at the UCSC.my writing center, my WC online. Here we go. And I'm going to pop that in the chat for everyone. And so students will go here to register for an account, and you'll input your email address, your name, your student ID, college affiliation. For graduate students, you go graduate student, academic year, you're a graduate student, graduation year, whatever that may be. Maybe it's today, I don't know. Your major, GANAS. Don't actually put GANAS. You can put your department there. Are you an international student? Let us know. So also you can set up email preferences and also text messaging preferences as well. So you can receive a text ahead of time for your scheduled writing appointment if you so choose. And then you also must prove that you are a human being and not a robot. I suppose androids are acceptable. They are part and part, but no full-on robots are allowed to book an appointment. So once you've registered for your account, which I've done, and let's hope I can remember my password, you're going to want to click this available schedule button here for VOCES specifically. And we're going to log in. Ah, look at that. I remembered how to do it. Wonderful. I practiced several times. I don't want to brag, but okay. So here I am going to make sure that I can share the screen because I know. So once we click a writing appointment, please bear with me. I just want to, you will get a pop-up screen. Can everyone see this pop-up? Should say create a new appointment. Great. Okay, wonderful. So here we go. You do have to schedule a minimum of 30 minutes with a writing mentor. And so typically you will have a number of writing mentors to choose from. Do you want to meet online? Great. It can be a synchronous online tutoring or asynchronous. Asynchronous means that the writing mentor and you do not have to connect at the exact same time. Maybe you're working 3 different jobs and decided to take 25 units. So you can really only fit in a writing appointment at 3 a.m. on a Sunday. In that case, you would select asynchronous writing advice. What would you like to work on today? Again, it can be anything, right? Unpolished, polished, whatever it is that you need help with. Would you look at that? You can upload files. It can all be there. So great, wonderful. Then we click create appointment and you'll be set up for your designated writing appointment time. And so just give me one quick second to get back to presentation. Okay, and so that actually concludes today's presentation. And I am very happy to take questions, engage in any discussion. I'm happy to elaborate on any of the 10 million points that I went through, whatever there is. Does anyone have any questions, or are there any questions in the chat?
Not at this moment.
Okay, great.
Well,
wait, we have one.
Oh,
Lydia,
yes.
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment actually. Thank you so much for that really great overview. I appreciated all the humor as well. Yeah, this is great. I'm looking forward to being able to share these resources with students on campus.
Yeah, me too. And actually, one thing that I did want to mention that I think I just got too excited talking about self-care and everything. One thing that I did want to mention is that part of the reason that I exist as an individual is that students may have questions that come up for them or may experience experiences that come up for them that they may not feel comfortable going to their department advisor for, or they may not actually know how to talk about it, whether that's a microaggression, a macroaggression, or perhaps there is a need for more funding within the department, right? That's something that you can come talk to me about because there is a very big difference between, say, asking your family for money, which is like a personal question, and then requesting further funding from your department, and so I'm here to help talk through perhaps what may feel like more difficult or like, sensitive topics. And in the event that I cannot address them readily myself, I'm here to connect you to someone who can. So I did just want to note that I do know, there are departmental advisors and they're all wonderful. I used to be one. And, should anything ever come up that you're just not really even sure, and maybe it is something that you could talk to your department advisor about, come talk to me. We'll figure it out. And if there are no more questions, thank you, everyone. I was very excited to meet people, to be able to share this with y'all. And it was just very important for me to, put a face to the title, to the name. Yeah, just, if you have any questions or if you didn't feel comfortable asking a question in this session, send me an email. My email's down there. And that is the one thing, Maria, I forgot to highlight. this is not supposed to be in this color, so pretend it's orange. And I will put my email in the chat here.